These are the molds for the fake teeth, for the dentures. So I'm cutting the model out. We poured these last night on the stream. Oh, cool. Thanks. So these I've needed to get done so that I can get back to working on the sculpture. Oh, really? Yusuf gets around. That guy. Oh, that fucker's dull. Yeah, sometimes when he says my name, it's a good thing. Other times it's I need to look away for a while because I'm about to get disciplined. Sometimes it's very funny though. My all-time favorite when I got a talking to was, you guys remember when he had the money gun and the money gun was getting jammed on Scar's bucks? And I said cheap money guns were cringe. What did I do with? We did 4 hours of streams last night. I didn't clean up my desk. It was almost 2 o'clock by the time I went to sleep. So I don't think it was a Supreme money gun, though. I think it was a cheap money gun. Oh, that was a while ago. That was way back in the early days of cringe. Once I find out where I am in these molds, I can move a little bit faster, but this is one of the things. I'm what's known as, I guess, a technical developer. So I figured things out. I just got an email a little while ago. First thing in the morning when I get up, I have to do a 3D rendering of something for a company on a rush. So I never know what I'm going to be doing from day to day. It changes. Sometimes I'm making a model. Sometimes I'm doing some woodworking. Sometimes I'm doing 3D rendering or animation. Kind of like, yeah, absolutely, it does. It keeps things from getting boring. But it's kind of like just one of those guys, like a mercenary. You know, what do you want? Tell me what to do. I'll tell you if I can do it or figure it out. One. I'm out of Atlanta, Georgia. All right, so this one's the mandibular and this one's the maxilla. So I don't have a lot of room on this side. So Mike, you're on Reddit and Scars. I've heard there's a beef, or Reddit has a beef with Red Bar fans, but I don't know the details. Kind of curious about it. Seems like we're all kind of laughing at the same stuff. And one thing I've learned is that people are pretty much the same no matter where you go. Especially when you start getting into fans of certain things, or everybody thinks they're different, but they really aren't. I'm going to try to get the models out without destroying them just in case, although the clay applique is probably not going to fare too well, but just in case, so I don't have to make them again. Yeah, he's a pretty funny guy. That's why I think like some of the guys on Reddit that automatically just hate him. It's kind of, I don't know, I think you'd be surprised, gentlemen, if you gave it a shot. Well, there's a big one. I didn't look at the weather, so I had no idea. Okay, so I'm going to want to take this backside down because I'm going to need to work into there at an angle. I'm not pouring anything into the mold, so, but I just need to make sure it keeps its integrity so it doesn't distort. So I put these popsicle sticks on the back last night so it wouldn't fold. Not a lot. Mostly it's just stuff on on the Facebook group of people covering Crowder. He's not been doing a lot of show coverage. I wouldn't say there's really been a full watch. but things get played. He's a soft man. There's too many people in the politics game. It's flooded. I like to listen to Stephen Molyneux's episodes, but not the politics ones. I don't like his politics ones. I don't have a problem with his politics per se, but I prefer the psychology ones. I like to try to figure out how he's going to trick his caller or whoever his email person was. I like to figure out how he's going to trick them into admitting what their problems are themselves without him coming out and saying it. From what I've heard, that Adderall is so easy to get, and it's very widespread. Basically, you go in, you have a doctor that you've been with for a while. You say, I just can't concentrate. Boom, you're on Adderall. Anybody know what the cost of Adderall is on the street? That will tell you how much of it's out there. I have no idea. That's a show, isn't it? I have no idea what it is. I've never listened to it, but I thought it was a podcast. Sven Stream was great. He did Dante and Big Janes. The Dante was hilarious. He did them like Bebop and Rocksteady from the Ninja Turtles. They were great. Yeah, let's see if these things open all the way. Yeah, this is number 13. Lucky number 13, so I made it gold. The rest are just the stone of texture. I did. So I'm letting it dry, and then I'm going to antique it with some stain that goes into like the deeper recesses. Today flew by. I don't know where the day went. Well, I'm trying to get them out without breaking them. Otherwise, I would just peel the... And there's no reason really to do it, to get them out of their hole, just kind of as insurance, just in case. You never know. Things happen, you know, stuff doesn't set up right, or something goes wrong, cat knocks something over. Things happen. They're almost out, though. This is your best chance to see me cut myself. This is usually when I do it. Cutting molds or... Brand new blade, too. It'll be quite a show. Just in case the safety police come in. You know, no. Don't give me that. Don't need it. I watch a lot of videos of people making stuff and doing stuff in the shops and on lathes and milling, and there's always that one guy. Oh, you're being very unsafe. Yeah. That's right. It might be blood on that golden chula. Really dress it up. That's what I thought too. Nice bonus episode. I burned through so many podcasts and shows. I'd love just anytime something comes on. Tomorrow is a desk day. I'll be sitting at my desk for a number of hours. Shout outs. People forget to drive when it's forget how to drive when it rains around here, but I'm sure it's the same everywhere. Let's give that just a little bit more relief back here. Perfect. No soft spots, no bubbles. In good shape. And very little damage to the teeth. Red Bar Archives, I've gone way back. And re-listening. So you've got, my different favorite ones. I love the Oathie episodes. And then recently I went back and listened to Berman again because of some of the posts, bringing it back up. Spooktacular is great. The Halloween Spooktacular. Yeah, that stuff is interesting. I just have I have a hard time watching Wet Movie 1. Just hard to look at. But they get up to Gabe is just insane. There's always wacky stuff going on with that little guy. But yeah, that would be fun to have some more of that. But the thing is they got to be out there getting up to things. When you know you're being watched, you probably are less likely. At least I would think that'd be on your mind. I think there's some foolettes who are really in need of attention, but it always goes a weird way. Well, it's important to kind of understand really the end goal. I mean, if you're just going to go on someone's channel and just tell them what a loser they are and just rip their ass out. It's not the best move. The best move is to be nice to them. This time on the new Kumia, I've not said a word. I know he's going to see it, though, eventually. There's just so many on there. He's gotten so touchy. I don't know why he bans accounts like that, though. I mean, it's not like you can't just use a different Twitter or log out. So it's kind of pointless. I say, if someone's just like lighting up his mailbox, I understand that. That's just time consuming. Too quick to block. He's Jocktober guy. Come on. Go with it a little bit. But again, that's what some of the difference. You don't know everything he's getting. Some of that stuff is just nasty for no reason. That I don't know. I'm not aware of that. Looks good. Yeah, I'm not up to speed on that at all, Amy. You should post something. All right, where is that? I need to order some basics. Disposable scalpels, pipettes. Running low on a few things. Last night on the stream, I was running that relaxing piano music, and I had it really low, just on speakers, not coming through the actual stream. And I got a copyright strike. I don't know. They've got some kind of algorithm that's going through streams and it's matching up waveforms. That's the only possible way, because I went back and listened to some of it, and you can barely even hear the music. Those kind of copyrights, they're not really strikes, but it's you have to agree that, if they run a commercial on that video, that the other person gets the proceeds, which is not bad if, it's better than nothing. But it's just weird how that 24-hour relaxing music stream is all someone's. I guess it belongs to somebody. Everything does. So tonight I'm not running anything. Be nice if there was a way you could get in touch with some of these labels, get permission, and then put the name of the music up on the front of the stream. And I watched this guy on YouTube. I wonder how he handles it. He's channel's name is Delta Empire. He's a drummer. He's fucking awesome, and he does cover songs of all these metal songs. Guy is unreal, just nails it every time. But he's got his studio, and he's got a drum set that's all mic'd up, and he plays the actual song and then plays drums over the top of it. So they've got to be picking up on that. So it must be a similar thing where, the owners of the songs can monetize it. If you like drummers, though, and you like watching drummers, check out this guy, Delta Empire. He's got to be a drummer in a band that's just hiding his identity, because he's way too well. There's no way he's not in a band. First of all, with all the equipment, and then how good he is. Another channel I watch is this black girl that listens to metal music, and it's a bunch of metalheads in there. Everybody loves this girl, and she just does reaction videos, but she plays the songs too. So there must be some kind of deal where they just allow the owner to monetize their videos. I play a little bit of everything. I'm a guitar player, but I can do enough where I can do whole songs by myself. I've got a decent little project studio. Well, I think we're going to try to do some teeth tonight. Well, once these teeth are done, they can go into the sculpture. I can take the old temporary teeth out of it and then go to town. Get back on the sculpture. So probably, tomorrow I will not. I've got to do this. Got to do work. I actually have a busy weekend. I really want all the chulas to go out Monday. I wanted them to go out this Monday, and then I decided to do those brass number plates. And I kind of missed my window for shipping. But definitely this week they got to go out this coming week. I'd have to count, see exactly for sure how many there are. It's probably around 30. I can order one and I can do like a Frankenstein unveiling. Little bit of clay in there, but as long as it stays off the surface, I could just pour a resin, a throwaway resin blank, and pull it all out, but I think that'll be okay. More than likely, we're going to take the finished ones and rough them up. Well, there's Mike and Cam and the artist, the guy who sent me all the dental supplies. I'm going to send him one. Derek Halls, shout outs. You being good? I got to grab a few things, but hold tight, guys. I'm going to get some coffee, and then these things can, that naphtha can evaporate out of there, and then we'll be ready to start. So give me like 5 minutes. Good night. Oh, and here's the eye. The eye's in there. So let me get it out in one shot. That might take some work to get out of there. Oh, there it goes. And so this shell is a little bit bigger, just slightly bigger than the eyes. So these go on the mandrel. And then I just put a little bit of clear epoxy in there around, fill up the cornea with epoxy, so it's a little bit of a dome, but the mold has a dome. but you just need to make sure it gets in there. Then jam that down in there and let it sit. And then when you pull it out, it has a solid shell of epoxy around it. That can be, wet sanded, polished. All right, guys, I'll be right back. Coffee, and I got to get the dental supplies. That's alginate. Now this stuff is pretty nasty. If you've never worked with dental acrylic before, there's a few different kinds, but this type is acrylic, and it uses powdered acrylic in a liquid called a monomer. It's basically, it has ketones in it, and probably, I would say there's probably methyl chloride in it to melt the acrylic, but it's pretty toxic stuff. I'm lucky I'm not in the state of California, or I'd have cancer right now. I'm not sure what set this is. If it's quick set, I might have about 2 minutes tops with each batch. We shall find out. So I'm going to do the teeth first. And I'm only going to do a veneer. And I may have to wait till they set, pull them out, and clean up any edges, and then put them back in the cavity to do the gums. So we'll see how it goes. I exaggerated the gums a little bit, so there's a pretty good pocket. Once it sets up, you can grind and you can polish. So if we want to make them more gnarly and beat up, we can. Oh, that smell. That's unmistakable smell. setting up pretty quick. So it's probably about 1 to 2 minutes. Quick set. I'm just putting that into, well, sorry, you can't see it. Just putting that up against the surface of the teeth. I probably won't get to them in the face tonight. I wouldn't think so. Let's see. So we're only going 2 on each side over here. See how fast that stuff sets up? Yeah, I will likely have to pull these out and just clean them up just a little bit. Normally, if you were just making a set, you would just fill the teeth all completely. I'm going to do about halfway. For a mask, they have to be real thin. No, I didn't watch any AA today. You know, if everyone's doing a watch, I'll tune in, but I don't really care for it. I do not enjoy it. If it was just Anthony sitting there talking, it'd be one thing, but that other dude. Not the Kevin Smith, a Kevin Smith dude. All right, this is going good. Ah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's too much with that wheezing and cackling. It's basically it's the level of comedy that you could get in any bar, you know, some old coots laughing at their own jokes. You ever have some old coot like come up to you and like tell you a dumb joke and then just start like kind of cackling and getting the elbows out on you? It's one of the most aggravating, annoying things. That's what that would be like. Boy, it is hay fever season here. Something fierce. Just sit there and then out of the blue, it's like you got a glass in your throat. And so I'm just slowly building up the acrylic on the front surface of the teeth. I can probably start being a little bit more aggressive with it now. Excuse me. Pretty much. There's some other materials that they use. There's some that UV sets, and then sometimes they you can buy sets of teeth that are pre-molded acrylic teeth. Oh, come on, dudes. That kitten is wild. I hope she calms down soon. She's not being a very good guest. I like this way just because it's the way that the first time I ever did it, and I've always done it this way. She likes to climb up on the shelves because she wants to get up high. So it's nothing that can really break. It's just annoying to have to go behind her and clean up stuff. Oh, I got her a bed and stuff like that. She doesn't use it. You mean like those carpet towers and stuff? I've been down that road. And whatever you intend for them to use, they don't seem to want to. I would say probably pretty good here. A little bit more on these upper ones. Stuff dries very hard, so I mean you could break it, but nice thing is that even you can come in afterwards and you can do little patches and feather it in. Just want to make sure I get enough around those canines. we'll call that one done. Since I'm going to have to pull them out and clean them up a little bit, I'm going to just reinforce them a little bit extra. People are probably tired tonight from the other streams. I would think too, unless you're specifically kind of interested in this, it's probably pretty dull. It's time consuming. And it doesn't seem like a lot gets done along the way. I do. I love it. I mean, that's usually how I fall asleep, is just watching someone make something or explain something. I like to put on like a lecture about computer code or something. That'll put you out quick. Whew. Strong, strong. I like the setup for Facebook streaming. The problem is Facebook downgrades the quality of the stream so bad. So no matter what settings you put your camera on, it always drops the quality down. I tried with OBS to get a good setting, and it was always just a little blurry, just a little off. I think the opportunity to get more people is here. You know, random people. It would be nice to, you know, pick up some Patreons, because some of the things that I would like to do are expensive. And that Patreon is just that little extra budget that allows you to kind of do that stuff and not really worry about it. And on top of that, what the Patreon does, it would allow me to not chase as much outside work. So unfortunately, I'm not independently wealthy, so I have to work. And well, as you've seen how much time this stuff takes up. So it'd be a luxury just for the next few months to just do nothing but stuff like this. That'd be awesome. It's funny, you know, you look at some of the the Patreons and you see the money that people are bringing in for what they're doing. I guess that's kind of shitty thing to say, but I have a pretty small expectation for this Patreon. Hopefully we can do it. If it could get to like a couple of grand a month, imagine having that budget to buy electronics, and that'd be nice. Unfortunately, with the Patreons and GoFundMes and Kickstarters, there's so many people who did them and then didn't deliver anything. And then you know, a lot of times people go there and say, "Okay, I'll go to Patreon. I guess I'll throw $1 at you." And they get there and they have to sign up, and then they're like, "Oh well." That does run off a lot of people. And really, I understand it. I've been to people's like vendors where they start asking me to make accounts and fill all this stuff. I'm like, no, dude, I just want to check out and give you a credit card and address. Not doing all this, and I'll leave. So I understand it. I don't want to do a survey. I don't want email alerts. So it's a hard thing that you're trying to do. You're not only trying to sell yourself, but you have to display some value. And a lot of the Patreons, it's just like, you know, give me this money and I'll make some videos. So that's really what you're getting. So I'm gonna work on that Patreon as far as what we do for rewards and put some cool stuff up there. No, I've not ruled that out. Direct donations are fine. If anyone wanted to message me, they can just use the clayformer@gmail address. But also, I looked at even like the super chat for YouTube. I think you have to have 1,000 subscribers before you can activate that. So for what I'm doing, I don't know. I might have to look in, you know, the Kumia thing's great because there's a lot of techniques that apply to anything, any type of mask or sculpting, or so that works out good. Some of the more targeted stuff, may have to kind of branch out, and you know, and everything doesn't have to be a fool. It really doesn't. It can just be cool stuff. It's funny to do something fool related. I've looked at that a little bit. It's basically the same type of thing. This is another platform. It's a hard thing to do to get strangers to fund you. It's like it really is asking a lot from someone to trust you that you'll work. Yeah. Yeah, it's clayformer@gmail.com is the email for PayPal. One word, Clayformer. I've seen that too. I saw someone, I'm not a gamer, but there's a guy, Dr. Disrespect, who does a Twitch stream. The guy's pretty funny. And I don't really, I don't play video games, but I like to watch him every now and then. I saw someone give that guy, someone gave him $10,000 one night or something like that. And he just about flipped backwards out of his chair. Imagine that. All of a sudden it comes up on your screen that you've got, someone just gave you 10 grand. If we had 10 grand, we could do the Geno head, the Cumia head, and probably about 3 or 4 more. And I really want that. Now the Melton costume, that's kind of that's a BBG thing. It's going to be hard to get. Now, some people will like to watch it just to see the techniques of working with the foam. But as far as the subject matter, but I suppose that, I watch, like furries. I've watched their videos of them making their costumes just to see what they were doing and what materials. So, and I'm definitely not into being a furry, and cosplay, but it's my sources of materials are the same, and a lot of the techniques are the same. So. Yeah, that's what this guy and I saw one night he got 5 grand too. So someone just threw 10 grand at him while he was playing a game, and he goes, "What? Are you kidding me?" And he just jumped up from his chair and walked away, and then came back like 30 seconds later. There are people out there, though. There's a lot of millionaires out there, multimillionaires, lots of them. And, they see you and they go, "Oh, what the heck's 10 grand?" And it really isn't, if you got 10, 15 million, it's not that much. You're going to get that back interest somewhere. I'm just watching for the change in the finish. So right now it's starting to get a little bit frosty, but there's like the deep parts are still a little bit. I think it is, Lando, and you could do me a favor too if you would just go look and see if you see it, because I've put it in a few different places, and the interface isn't that completely clear when you're looking at it from inside your account. So I think I put it in a couple of different places. But if you wanted to go and just look and see if you saw it anywhere, that would definitely be helpful. But what I need to do is make one of those intro videos that people have on their channels. They have all the list of videos with the small thumbnails, and then there's one like bigger one. Yeah, so get the PayPal address up somewhere. I did that quick 15-second Melton in the snow video last night. I could put the PayPal and the Patreon on that and just run that. That would be kind of bizarre and random. Sad Melton in the snow. Could do some After Effects explosions, some techno music. Like cut to action scenes and then just cut back to like really slow, boring sculpting, and then back to explosions and action. Well, we put this together pretty fast, as far as, because I didn't really want to do a Patreon, and then Todd, Todd, he suggested it. And so I thought, well, okay, we'll try it. We could definitely do more elaborate stuff with a budget. I'll be right back. One thing that I'm really bad about is taking video and pictures while I'm working. Sometimes those days get long and then you get so engrossed in working on it and you don't take pictures. So I kind of like the stream. I like the atmosphere of just, okay, I'm just going to sit here and work for this many hours and stuff gets done and then you have video up. It actually is pretty good. What are you doing? Don't get under my feet. You're too little. You're too little. Stinks, doesn't it? Smells. Yeah, I like that idea. Just something corny. I don't take myself too seriously. I don't need to be digging in there with metal. I could, you know what I could do? I could pour an extra chula and ask him if he would do it, if he would make one. Send him a chula. I'm a pretty awful self promoter too. I always feel weird about it. And I shouldn't. I mean, millions of people are doing it, but yeah, they can be ripped off of Facebook. The problem is that the resolution is downgraded. I need an acid brush. I think there's one right on the table over here. No, I didn't save them locally. I suppose I should. You never know what could happen. You could lose your channel or. So the next part here, what I'm doing basically is I'm going to pull these veneers out, clean them up a little bit, and put them back in the mold, and then do the pink acrylic over them and lock it all together. I do think I'm a little thin in some places, but if the repairs are pretty easy with this stuff. And I should let it sit overnight, but I'm going to take the chance. It's not like I can't redo them if I have to. It's a chemical reaction. The monomer, which is the liquid, melts the acrylic and it evaporates off really quick. It's a really volatile solvent. And there's a little bit of a setting action that happens, but it's not like a catalyzing cure. The UV chemicals might be a good way to go. I have a UV box that I built for exposing photoresists and I could get that out and use that. I've been looking at this company called Formlabs. They make 3D printers that are the SLA printers, which means it's resin cure. It uses a laser to cure the layers of resin, and then you have to put them in a ultraviolet curing oven afterwards just to make sure everything cures all the way. They have really nice ovens that have like an automatic turntable in them that spins around and exposes it to the lights. It's pricey stuff. It's just a different process. In my experience, I mean, it's to do the 3D sculpt, and then for some things I would, and then I would find a lot of excuses to do things with it. like for the animatronic parts, that it'd be perfect for that, just to print out the different little pieces. It's got a fairly good build area too. It's not like the most people think of 3D printers, they think of the FDM printers where it uses the filament and you get the bigger print areas. With the SLA printers and the oh, what's the other one called? I'm just drawing a blank on it. It uses an LED screen to do the ultraviolet. So it basically, each layer, it flashes a block image of the layer, whereas the laser runs across the surface back and forth, where the other type, it's I just has an acronym. I'm drawing a blank. Been a long day today. It starts with a D. But they those type with the LED cure, they usually have a smaller build area unless you start getting up into real high dollar stuff. And then you're getting into the sintering and things like that. It won't be long before that starts to become a consumer item. I would imagine, within 10 years or so, you'll start having, everybody will be getting 3D printers, and you need a serving spoon or a cup or something like that. You'll just download a model and print it. Kind of like, the Jetsons, except without the antimatter and the magic. It's mainly just speed now because the FDM printers, they're printing in ABS plastic and high impact polystyrene, nylon. And you can get those FDM, the filament printers pretty cheap, but the quality isn't there. I would spend the same amount of time doing a 3D model and then hours printing it, and then you would still have to come back and clean it up because you can see the layers. So it would end up being a longer process for me. Well, if you want to start with something that has a lot of support and a lot of like YouTube tutorials and it's free, Blender is a pretty full-featured program. I've been going way back to early versions of like 3D Studio Max when it was still discrete, and Maya when it was Alias, before Autodesk bought them all. So I tend to kind of stick with those programs. But I used Rhinoceros when they first started in the beta, and so I've used Rhinoceros for a lot. For organic modeling, it's a little bit rough. I think there's some plugins now, some T-Spline plugins, but for as far as mechanical, it's great. And I have a license for it from a previous client, so that does help. Blender has great plugins, and I think it does mechanical simulations. First one I ever learned was Discrete 3D Studio Max, and I think it was it was on DOS, believe it or not. It was a DOS version. Well, that's going back a ways. But I do remember when I was really young playing with POV modeling, which was incredibly difficult because you had to, the way I would do it is with a calculator and grid it out. So you would have your X and Y like on a flat piece of paper, and your Z was up. So, and you had so many units, left or right, up and down, and then you would have to try to figure out that point of what that number was for those coordinates, and then put that in, put the next one in as a coordinate, and then tell the software that it needed to draw a line in between those 2 points. So that was pretty cumbersome. It's amazing what you have access to now. I'm going to try to pull this out. I have a feeling it's going to be a little bit soft. And I might regret this, but we'll see. YouTube is phenomenal. There's so many people who are willing to put their knowledge up there. I've learned a ton of things over the years from YouTube. If you want to get really good tutorials, there's a company called Gnomon, Gnomon. It's all industry professionals. I highly doubt it, Amy. I really doubt it. Finish the sculpt. There's some teeth. They'll lighten up a little bit when that stuff cures all the way, but pretty good. They're a little soft too, but the main parts will go right back in the mold. They'll dry faster like this anyways, so. Got some bottom choppers. They look real good. There's a couple of ways to do this streaming with YouTube. They just added straight to webcam like Facebook, which is really cool. So it's just a no-brainer. Start your webcam. It takes whatever resolution you've got and sends it up. And then you can use OBS and use a stream key. And that allows you to do an overlay, like put your email in the bottom. But this is nice, doing it this way. Yeah, these, Amy, they'll look like real dentures. This is the real material. So as long as I don't balls it up too bad, they'll look great. And then you can polish them, and it looks like bone. This is a number 65 tooth acrylic, so it is yellowed like this. And then you can use stains, acrylic stains on them. What did I do with those little, there they are. This extra material around the top, I've got to just trim that off and then put the teeth back in there. Otherwise, when I put the gum material in, you'll see that white in front of it. A little bit is okay because you can grind it out, but don't want a lot. So I've got like a little speckle. I don't know if you can see it. There's a little speck of clay that was in the mold. So I'll just take a Dremel and grind that out, and then take a little of the mixture and fill it back in, and it'll be fine. It's a little bit soft, but I'd like to have the teeth done tonight. That would be my preference. Well, if you guys get bored, you don't have to stick around, but I might be another hour for sure. These are real fragile right now. There's some out there, but I think there's like a listing. YouTube has a listing of Creative Commons music. There's one guy that I like that I personally like and his channel is called Pipe Choir. I think the band is called Pipe Choir. He does these crazy long ambient songs. Some of them are like 2-hour long songs. He's got a song called Dream On that's really good. Well, I would say that he probably isn't, but it was a phase. He just doesn't strike me as, he's not a thoughtful man. Let me put it that way. He's a lout. It's like every high school emo kid writing. Yeah, and that's cruel to know. Amy, you don't get into crystals and covering everything in essential oils. Yeah, his going to bed, the healing frequencies. First of all, when you're 50 years old, you can't drink like you're 20. It messes everything up. It messes up your metabolism. It messes up your sleep. And it really does a number on your brain. Screws up your cells so that your skin gets shitty because you don't process it like you do when you're young, and you don't heal and recover like you do when you're young. So I really don't understand. It seems like, I don't know if you've noticed, but it seems like it's gotten really trendy to brag about your drinking. Like everybody's in high school again and they're telling everybody how much they like to party. I've noticed that lately. It's weird. It's more like just, well, I'm being a loser. I'm just going to own it. But I've noticed that a lot lately. You're right, too. A lot of women, all of a sudden, too, women, and I'm not saying women can't be sports fans, but all of a sudden, every woman is a diehard sports fan, wanting to party, get drunk. It's that modern influence. My brother used to work at a sports bar. He worked there forever. He was like a piece of furniture in that place. And I'd go down there some night to have a nice Guinness off the tap, and there'd be groups of people there watching, especially college football. People are crazy about it. And women jumping up in the air and screaming. Now, I have no point of reference as far as that goes because I have no interest in sports. Not something that interests me in the least. Every thought, you're right. And I'll tell you another one of my personal pet peeves, guys. At the gym, those tall socks. Got the kind of the retro shorts with the crazy colorful socks. I hate those things. Stop. They do, and they're not cute at all. They're gross. So if you're wearing those things, stop. Yeah. Choppers. That's not a good sign. These can actually come apart. They get bridged with the pink dental material. A little easier to work on. And I don't know if I'm in the minority on this, but when I watch, there's, a lot of people that have channels where they sculpt stuff and they make stuff, and everybody does the time lapse. I don't like the time lapse. Can't learn anything from a time lapse. I would rather watch a long video, space it out, pause it if I have to, go eat, come back. So I left some allowance around the gums for if I have to come back in later from the front just to build up and smooth out. So I'm in a little bit of uncharted territory with those retractable fangs. I've not done it. I have a good idea how I'm going to, but I might have to build up more material to hold those mechanisms in. Oop. Now, so that should have been that side, and that was this side. That's important to keep track of. Psst. Don't get into it. I got the water bottle sitting here. And see, then they can just fit right back in the cavity for the next part. So we're almost there, guys. There's some great oil painters on YouTube as well. A lot of like top quality instruction for free. That's why I wish that they would kind of bury their politics a little bit and step back and kind of butt out, because that's not what made YouTube a great place. I think that website Gab is getting ready to do their equivalent of YouTube Live pretty soon, and Facebook Live. I don't know all the details on it. I just saw it. That's probably been a couple of weeks at least now. If someone had the resources to set it up, there's a boatload of money to be made right now with another platform. But it's no small feat to put that together. It's pretty amazing that that a company like YouTube has the infrastructure to just record so many videos day after day after day. The bandwidth that must come out of that place. There are some things that could be happening though to YouTube in the future. They start losing some of their tax status. In order to qualify as a public communications platform, it has to be open to everybody, and that has to follow the basic guidelines of First Amendment. So they've been bad. These were a little soft, so they probably a little bit of the pink material will seep in front, but I'll just grind it off. It'll be fine. Certainly good enough to get into the sculpture and get going. If I have to, I can make another set. Got plenty of material. All right. Can make another set off camera when they can sit overnight. What did I do with that? Yeah, I've always heard of people getting those boxes in their houses. You know, you always hear about the Nielsen ratings, but I never knew anyone that ever got one of those boxes. So it's probably something they do in bigger cities. My understanding of it is it just records and sends a signal of what you've got planned. I'll be right back, and then we'll do the gums. I'm going to do a little bit with some care, and then I can lay it in there. I guess they come and they get the information out of the box. You would think it'd be just straight to the internet, unless they have to do maintenance calls like anything, I'm sure. I need to get a plastic spoon. He knows what that spray bottle is. It's a little soupy. All right, get out of here. Get. Go. Yeah, and it's not. It's just in that bag. Really need this in a bottle. Oh well. I'm getting too much stuff on my desk. I'm losing track of things. She's a stray. Her mother was hit by a car, and she was just hanging out there with the mom, and a neighbor found her, and I was the one who was Mr. Softy. She's a nice cat. She's just trouble. Yeah, I don't think the PayPal is. So I'll do something for that. Well, Amy, I've always said that TV is one of the most potent propaganda devices ever devised. And that I think a long time ago, maybe in the 70s, it really started to turn into the social programming. And I think everybody would probably be shocked to find out how much the federal government has been involved in television programming on every level, even, just sitcoms and things like that. I was very surprised to see that reboot of Roseanne. Getting a pretty good layer built up in there. Oh yeah, that's great. That thing was great. I'm sure other people got it up on Twitter too. That Dante was just, I was dying laughing at the shape. It's a really bizarre shape. I'm doing the gums now. So I put those teeth back in, and now I'm doing the gums, kind of sealing it all together. Extremely weird shaped. So he talks about that 1400. I'm like, who? How did this happen? That LOS appearance on Rogan is pretty good too. Just took a beating. I listened to a little bit of it and then I bailed out. They were going over like top grossing movies and it went on and on and on. It's kind of like, well, guys, I can read this article myself. I did tonight. I don't. It was post was pretty far down in the list, so I don't think it had much effect. I don't know much about Reddit how it works, but it seems like it's hard to get stuff to stay up, even if it's active. I don't understand the method that posts slide. Get Porcelain to bump things. I think he's got a lot of points. Does it work on a point basis? I think probably a lot of them do, but you know how a community is. I don't get into stuff like that. If it's funny, it's funny. Yeah, I do like that. The 100% Italian. Those conversations, he puts a lot of work into those conversations, picking out the clips and the podcast. Yeah, we're in good shape here. Should probably build up a little bit along the top. Yeah, that what would that be? A concertina? Not a kind of like an accordion, but the little one. It's great. A little Italian accordion. English guys seem to be able to drop into a Western accent really well, whereas it's not the same. For Americans just end up sounding cheesy. For the longest time, I didn't know Christian Bale was English. I don't watch much outside. I don't watch TV at all. I'm not up on my pop culture. I think I've seen a couple of them. I can appreciate the patience it takes to do that. Some of those animations that Sven does, it's so much work. I've done some animating, and it is, even with keyframing and software, it's a long haul. I think Sven uses Flash too. It's tedious. I hope so. Mike put a post up that he's on the show. I think he loves the attention and the media so much that he will. I don't think he'd miss it. That'll be great. Yeah, I expect he'll come right back at Mike. He's in that mood. If he gets himself all, geared up before the show and he's ready to fight. Because I think he is under the impression that everybody hates him. At least that's what he kind of alluded to on his Twitter. Well, I think most of them, they just assume that it's coming from a place of like this anger, and it's not. It's just mischievous. I do understand it though. I would not want to be one of those. I would not want to be one of those guys in the Target. Oof. Especially if you're really insecure, like most of them are. Just about there. And I will be glad. I'm tired of smelling this monomer. I think that's probably thick enough for this. It's probably not great, to inhale. I think if you were like in a real closed-in space, it could be a problem. I got a fan running too, so ceiling fan. Keeping the air moving. So there'll probably be a little bit of the pink that ran down in front of the teeth just because I took the teeth out a little soon. They were a little soft and there's a little bit of space, but I can grind that off, clean it up. So when I do the ones for these are just for the sculpture, to go in the sculpture. When I do the ones for the animatronic, I'll build them up good and thick and then I'll let them sit. I'll do the teeth, let the teeth sit overnight, and then clean them up real good, polish them, put them back. Well, I probably won't polish, but I'll put them back in, and then do the gums, let them sit overnight, and then I'll take them out and clean them up, polish them. This just needs to be a fairly accurate approximation of what the finished teeth will be so that the sculpture forms around them. There'll be a lot going on inside for the animatronics. Everything's got to kind of work fairly well. Just clean this up a little bit and then see how soft they are. You know what I should do? I should just mix a little bit of resin and back these. And I'll do that later. I'm starting to get tired. We've been going a while here. Not too bad, though. These needed to get done. I think we can pull those out. These are the mandibular. No, these are the maxillary. It's pretty gross. The gum material gets a little bit darker too once you build it up, so. But it's acrylic, so it can be airbrushed and stained. They actually, you can buy dental stains made specifically for this material. There's the mandibular. And then I'll hand form the fangs and sculpt those and then shape them and polish them. It's a good color. A little bit yellow, but pretty good. That's about how they should sit. I think so. Just the tiniest bit of pink ran in front. It's not even thick enough to be pink, so I can just file it away. When I was a teenager, my uncle was an orthodontist, and all of us kids got good teeth. But he used to let me go and play in his dental lab. So all of my friends, I made teeth for all of my friends, fake like Bubba teeth and fangs, and and big, crooked, nasty double row. I mean, we just did all kinds of nasty stuff. But do the full alginate impression with the dental stone and then build the teeth on top of the casting of their teeth so they'd fit perfect. And boy, we had some gruesome teeth. And it became a big thing at school where we all got our teeth taken away because it just became, it was such a disruption. Everyone was wearing their teeth in class and being clowns. But pretty funny times. All right, y'all, I think we'll cut that stream 3.5 hours. Let these sit overnight, and then I'll come back and clean them up and file them up. Some of them got elaborate. You know, as we were talking the other night, I actually started going after Bisconte about 6 months before the bar did. It was right about the time when all that went down with Metzger and Schumer, and I just had made some post about it, and here comes Bisconte, the same stuff. Oh, you and your 70 followers are, I mean, yeah, it's a goof Twitter account. You know, you and your whatever and your, you know, no career loser, 70 followers, probably in a basement, same whole thing. And so I turned my account into a fake Bisconte account. So I was so happy when the bar started going after him. And then I was constantly taking all of his teeth out, being his online dentist. And then we started on the skin tags. And it took a year. It was just like maybe a month ago when In Hot Water, Aaron Berg said, so, hey, Gino, how are your skin tags doing? So that was like a year to get that payoff. Pretty funny, though. Yeah, the basement thing is so hack. Everybody's on the internet. And, you know, yeah, there are people in their basement, in their mom's basement, but, you know, most people giving you a bunch of shit online, especially if you're one of these goofballs, they're not in their mom's basement. So that one's they're swinging and missing on that one. But they all love that one. They all love that one. I've noticed that. All right, y'all. I'm going to snap a photo of these choppers and post it, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. I'm very busy tomorrow. I've got to do a 3D model and a rendering, and I have to get it all done tomorrow by the end of workday. So I'm probably going to be up about 6 or 7 in the morning and then jamming. And then this weekend, though, we'll get back. Yes, I will do that. Thank you. But this weekend, we'll get back to the sculpture because there's a lot of work to do on that. Well, have a good night. Thanks a lot.